welcome to this week's episode of the Phonebox Podcast with me, Emma Conway. How the devil are you? What's the weather like? And we're hurtling towards Christmas. Have you started your Christmas shopping? I have. I have a spreadsheet, and I was inputting stocking fillers just before I came on this call. Fran, have you started Christmas shopping?
Spreadsheet, Emma.
Yes,
I do not have a spreadsheet. That is no, I haven't. I'm literally still in my summer tops.
Look, I have to have a
on.
spreadsheet. My birthday, my son's birthday, my daughter's birthday, Christmas, and my wedding anniversary is in the same month. If I don't have a spreadsheet, it's going to be carnage. So welcome to the podcast. Fran, can you tell the people where they can find you online?
Of course, I'm the fashion _lift. And I do fashion, etc. And I do little 80s and 90s throwbacks every so often on my stories, which everyone loves because we all basically live in our heads in the 80s and 90s.
I am always, if you just have a look here, I bought a DVD player and a television this week just so I can watch DVDs again. And I know it sounds really stupid. It's changed my life. Putting the DVD in and watching the adverts before the film.
So exciting.
It's so exciting. I watched an Elmo's Fire at the weekend. Have you seen that recently?
No, I haven't seen it for ages. I've actually went through all the 90s films, 80s and 90s films with Jess, who's 17.
Yeah.
So we've been working our way through all of them. I think we've gone through all of them, but we haven't done Breakfast Club or St. Elmo's Fire.
I'm telling you now, both of them, you will have to say, we don't do things like that in 2024. We don't just look up girls' skirts. We don't slightly sexually abuse a girl and then blame them. That's not what we do in this, because those films are Rob Lowe. I was like, Rob Lowe should be in jail for what he's doing in St. Elmo's Fire.
I think he was he for a while?
Yeah, but I mean in the film, in the plot of the film, he was in real life. Was he in real life? Was he in drugs?
I think he was arrested. I've got a feeling, or there was some kind of, probably like most things that happened in the 80s and 90s, there was some kind of shadiness going on there.
He's so handsome that when I was watching the film, I was like, he was gorgeous, wasn't he, Rob Lowe? Absolutely. Yeah, stunning. But my favourite from the John Hughes films is I like Andrew McCarthy. He's my fave.
Oh, me too. Mannequin.
That
was just gorgeous. And he was, and I think it was his whole demeanor. He was so accessible. He wasn't perfect. Actually, when you look at the 80s and 90s films now, you realize that people aren't perfect. People don't have perfect noses. They don't have bright white teeth. They were kind of perfectly imperfect. And they were the top of, like, the most beautiful people. The film stars were beautiful, but they weren't perfect. So I follow this person on Instagram who does all the 90s and 80s throwbacks of film premieres. And they were like, they had shine on their face. Yeah. Their hair was a bit all over the place. They just looked more natural. And Andrew McCarthy was just absolutely gorgeous.
I love in all the films, he's got slightly wonky teeth. And I just think you are so beautiful. Have you seen the documentary? I think it's on Disney Plus, where he goes and visits everybody from the Brat Pack.
No, I haven't.
Oh, you will love it. So he goes and sits down. He goes and chats with Rob Lowe. He goes and chats with Emilio Estevez and Demi Moore, and they talk about being part of the Brat Pack. It is so good.
I went through a real stage of being a bit of a Matt Dillon fan as well.
Oh,
back in the what was the original Brat Pack film? The Outsiders.
Yeah, The Outsiders. What happened to Matt Dillon? He's not been cancelled. He's alive, isn't he?
I don't know.
With this podcast,
and then there was the vampire one, Lost Boys.
I watched. That's one of the ones I bought on DVD.
Oh my god, that's one of my favorites. The soundtrack is insane.
I bought it the other day for £1.
Oh my god, I love it. So we used to watch Lost Boys when we were probably about, I don't know, 10.
Yeah, it's an 18. It's an 18 film. Yeah.
Mum and Dad did not give a shit about what we watched. We were watching it's quite scary films.
Yeah, Freddy films I was watching. No one cared. Nightmare on Elm Street. Yeah, Poltergeist. Come on watch that with us.
But did Nightmare on Elm Street really, really affected me?
I did for a long time think he was going to be living in a doll's house in my house, or like under the covers. I'm not. Would I want to watch it now? I don't know, but The Lost Boys, I put it on my Insta stories and people were like, that was an 18. I was watching it when I was 11. It's like,
Yes,
yes, it's an
me too.
18.
Seriously, and it didn't scare me at all. I just remember eat the noodles, Michael. I remember there's so many like things, and where I loved Star. Star was the girl in it, and
Yeah.
there was this saxophone thing in it. They were in a concert, and it was like this. I love sax, and
Greasy like man.
he was like, yeah, and he was really, really dancing, and his hips were going, and Star did this dance, and I should just literally
Yeah.
do Star's dance all the time.
What happened to Star? Because I was watching, I was thinking, I don't think I've seen you in anything since this
No,
film.
I don't think so.
Guys, go and watch Lost Boys. If you go on to, here's a top tip. If you want to buy a DVD player, they're literally like £20. But if you go onto Amazon and just look for a film, and then I just buy them used. So it's like literally £1.24. So I got The Lost Boys, St. Elmo's Fire. What else did I get? Stepmom, which obviously is a bit later, but
Mhm.
I've just been loving maybe it's because we're a bit older, maybe we're just reminiscing.
Yeah, but I did. I mean, my Friday nights used to be in blockbusters, just deciding what to watch. Like with my sisters going, oh, but we've seen that, we saw that last week, we saw that last week, and then inevitably like picking up Mannequin again, or something or Adventures in Babysitting was the one that we
Yeah.
probably watched on repeat.
I might get when I get off this call, I might just order Mannequin for £1 as well and add that to my collection. But talking about films, so you were 14 in 1989, and we
Yeah.
had Melissa on last week and we chatted a bit about the songs, I think, of 1989, but the films of 1989 were cracking. So just try and guess one of the top films of 1989, and I can give you a clue if you want.
Um, Goonies, it was Goonies earlier.
Goonies not one of the top five films, but that was a brilliant film. I love it.
I mean, that was one of the best, wasn't it?
Yeah.
I knew all the words of that. I basically still know all the words of all the 80s and 90s songs and all the films because we watched a lot of TV when we were younger. Um, oh, Pretty Woman I just saw was 90.
I'll give you a
Give me a
clue.
clue.
I'm going to give you a clue. I'm going to say Michael Keaton.
Batman.
Yes, Batman was number two. Well
Yay!
done. So number five, we have Rain Man. Great film with
Give me
Tom
some more clues
Cruise.
and I'll guess them. Give me
Oh,
some more
oh, oh,
clues.
okay, okay. Number four was Michael J. Fox.
Back to the Future
Yeah,
2.
Back to the Future 2. Yes,
Yeah.
well done. Number three, Scouse Woman Goes on a Holiday.
Shirley Valentine.
Shirley Valentine got number two as Batman, and number one, a very hunky Harrison Ford.
Raiders of the Lost Ark.
Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade.
Ah,
That was
yeah.
a good year for
It was
films.
a good year. It was a good
Yeah.
year in life.
And number
89 was a good year.
it was a good year. Oh, and number 10 was Dead Poets Society. That's another
Oh,
great film.
yeah, it's amazing.
Captain, My Captain, such a good film. So 1989 was a cracking year. I want to know where you grew up and what was on your bedroom walls.
So it was definitely, I think 89 would have been New Kids on the Block.
Yeah. Who's your fave?
That was before, because I moved from New Kids on the Block to Take That. So I was 14. I was working in a news agent's
Oh,
around the corner,
nice.
because I was 14, obviously. That's what you did when you were 14 back in the olden days. Um, yes, so now I was going to the juice bar, the disco, local disco at Sports Centre. And I shared a room with my two sisters, and it was a mess. And we had sliding door cupboards, and the tracks were broken, so the sliding doors used to come out the ways, not along the ways. So we used to just pull them out and pull the stuff out. We had loads and loads of toys and games, and shelves of clothes from three girls that just used to tumble out, bunk beds and one bed.
It sounds
My bed.
fun.
It was really, really good fun. And because there was four girls, then it was always a really, really busy house. So we always had our friends in, and mum and dad are Glaswegians. So they loved having a party. So it was lots of parties. They had all friends around all the time. We had friends around all the time. It was great.
So New Kids on the Block was on the walls. Who was your fave member? Was it
Joe,
Jordan or was it Joey?
Joey,
Joey.
100%. And funnily enough, so I was like, I cannot tell you how obsessed I was with Joe. I was absolutely 100%. I dreamt about him all the time. You know, like how you'd sit there and go, oh,
Yeah.
just everything about him was the dream to me. So I had loads of posters of them all, but he was my favourite. And then my first boyfriend when I was 16 looked like Joey.
Oh,
Or I'm kind of like a poor
lovely.
man's version of Joey.
Lovely. I thought I was going to marry Matt Goss. I kept trying to work out the age, like when, I'm working out the age. Okay, so I'm like 10 and he's like 19. So when I get to like 16, so we could potentially go out with each other. It's like Matt Goss is never going to go out with you, Emma. But
But
that's
I
what I
was going to marry
thought.
Matt Goss.
Oh, okay. Yeah, sugar.
So I was sometimes in between Luke because I thought Luke, I might have more chance with Luke because he wasn't the main man. So I was like in between Matt and Luke. Well, Luke, yeah, maybe I've got a chance there. We went to see Bros in Brighton
Oh,
in the 80s, and I remember we came out and we got taken by our friend's dad, Kevin, and we were all like, that was so good because we've been screaming so much. Our voices were so high, and we had
I,
bottle tops on our
oh,
trainers, on our
lovely.
shoes, probably shoes actually, probably DMs at the time. The Grolsch bottle tops, and we were all rossed up.
A Brosset. He was so gorgeous. I loved it. I loved him so much. Okay, if there's a knock on the door and you've got current day Matt Goss or Joey, and they ask you on a date, who would you go with?
Joey.
Joey. No heads.
Yeah.
I don't know what current day Joey looks like. Is he still hot?
No, he looks the same, but with an old filter on. Probably like we all do. That's awful, isn't it? And also, he's quite small. And
Oh,
I saw them recently, and they were doing their dances and singing the right stuff. Like what?
yeah.
And oh, like I'm doing the dance now. But they were doing that, and they just looked. It looked a little bit, yeah, a little bit old to be
Like
doing that.
dad dancing. Did you go to the concert? I saw them when they toured with Backstreet Boys. I think it was called like BSNKOTB. I can't remember what it was, but it was Backstreet Boys and New Kids on Block on tour, and that was quite a good
I never
concert.
saw them.
That
No.
wasn't that long ago. That was only, oh, I don't know. When I say that wasn't that long ago, it was probably 10 years ago, but time just goes
Yeah,
so
yeah, no, I
fast.
love them. I wasn't such a Backstreet Boys fan, but I definitely like New Kids on the Block.
My mum went to a Matt Goss weekend recently at Warner Holidays. Do you know Warner Holidays, which is kind of for like older people with
Yeah.
my dad? And my dad was filming it. And Matt Goss came on the stage, and all these old ladies just got up and just like they kind of ran towards the stage. And my dad was just filming, like really cackling while he was there, really going for it. But you know what? He put on a good show.
Oh, I bet he
Love a
did.
bit of
He
Matt
does got a good
Goss.
voice.
Yeah, he has got a good voice. Okay, so what kind of music were you into apart from pop?
I liked a bit of indie. I liked the Charlatans,
Yeah.
Oasis, um, uh, Wonder Stuff,
Oh my God, I love the Wonder Stuff
Size
because
of a
they're from
Cow.
Birmingham. Yeah, they're Brummies.
Yeah,
So like, oh, I just love the Wonder Stuff so much. Yeah.
and the Levelers.
Yeah.
So I was quite kind of I was in between. I've always been a bit of a mix of everything really. I mean, probably basically people pleaser. So I just listened to whatever everyone else liked. But I did like pop and I did like indie, and I kind of dressed in between the two. I always wore DMs, opaque tights, paisley shirt. I wore hot pants quite a lot, which is a bit weird. Sounds like I'm from the 60s, but
No, that
I
was
used
kind
to
of like velvety kind of hot pants then. Did
velvet
you have
hot pants.
a top? With levelers have the top with levelers written down the side, or is that
They did
Jane? Yeah,
a
yeah,
long
yeah.
sleeve top. Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Yes.
yeah. So I used to wear hot pants bodies. So I used to go to the Gym Palace in Tooting when I was far too young to be going out. I used to go when I was 16, 17, and it was a club, and I'd go there with my fake ID, and I would wear velvet hot pants, opaque tights, DMs, and bodies. Everyone else used to wear high heels, but I used to wear DMs because I was half grungy, half trying to be
Yeah.
popular.
Fake IDs were brilliant. What did your fake ID say? Did you belong to something or was it just pretending was it an NUS card? What was it?
It was my sister's real birth certificate.
So
I
with
was
no photo on.
I didn't. I just took it out with me. When mum found out, she went absolutely flipping mad. She was like, "This is a legal document. This is really important. Joanne needs this, so she needs to get a new passport." She was 3.5 years older than me. I looked really, really young, and I just used to just show it, shaking, just go, hey, what's your name? Joanne Carroll. What date were you born? 71. And yeah, so I just used to be like a nervous. I was really, really small, looked really, really young, and I used to just kind of be surrounded by taller, older looking girls, and I would just kind of nervously show it, and then just literally be so nervous for about a week before I went, and then I would get in and then have a few drinks and be fine.
But like, it makes no sense because there's no photo of you on a birth certificate. So you could have, it could have been
Nothing.
like, these bouncers did not give two shits if we were 12 or 22. They didn't care. They were
They
just
just
like,
wanted to
get
cover
in.
their backs.
Yeah, they didn't care. They wanted to go, yeah, yeah, I checked it. She had a birth certificate. We had one lady on called Jess, Jess on the plus size. She does like
Yeah.
fashion, yeah, plus size fashion. She had like some sort of cereal packet, like I don't know, like off of Frosty's like kind of card that she'd like stuck her face on. They're like, yeah,
Oh,
in you
that's
come, yeah,
brilliant.
in you come. But yes,
Exactly.
fake IDs, we don't talk. I don't think people get away with that now, would they?
No, they have to be scanned now. So now they
Oh,
have to be
really?
scanned. They have to, so there is a fake ID, there is fake IDs going around, obviously, and they have to be, they're really expensive and they have to be scannable. They have to be driving license, they have to be scannable. They have to, because the UV light, they have to work with all that because they're very, very full on with fake ID nowadays.
Yeah, with us, they did not care. Okay, what kind of school did you go to and where did you fit in the hierarchy?
So I went to St. Philomena's Convent School for Girls.
Lovely.
And it was exactly how you imagine it would be. It's all girls' school, taught by nuns, which made us very naughty as a result because we rebelled against everything. So yeah, so it was very strict. We wore a brown uniform. We used to get coins thrown at us as some kind of charity, as a joke by people, boys walking past. Everyone
Nice.
used to just like vomit as we walked past because we had this like really, really diarrhea brown cardigan, a
Yeah.
kilt, thick socks. They still wear it actually. And now they've got tartan trousers, which are even worse. But yeah, so it was kind of quite tough, but it was also fun at parts. I didn't really like school, to be honest.
Yeah, girls' schools are interesting because I went to a girls' school as well, and it's an interesting atmosphere. It's good because you don't have to make any effort for boys. Well, I didn't, but it's
I didn't.
bad because it's a lot of girls.
A lot of girls, and it's quite can be very, very bitchy, and it was quite, it's quite tough kids in there as well. It was quite kind of it was yeah. So it was fun. So I would say I was a splinter popular girls group. So
Okay.
there was three of us, and we were called Heathers, which wasn't very nice. But I
Heather.
wasn't part of the Heathers
Oh,
squad.
so okay, like Heather's is in the film.
Heathers is
Heather's.
in the film.
Oh, right, okay.
But I was basically I guess I was an olden day pick me girl. So I
Okay.
wanted to I wanted to be picked and popular, but I was actually quite quiet. And I had brown hair and really, really thick eyebrows and big lips, which at the time weren't very attractive because, as my mum used to say, you're all features and no face. So I just used to be big. I used to have a big nose, big eyebrows, big lips, and a perm. Brown.
All features and no face. That is a classic mom thing to say. Moms were just brutal, weren't they? There was no like mental health or trying to
No,
be a bit woke. It was like, no, that dress is horrible. Oh, it's too
yeah.
tight. Get it off. It's just,
Mum used to always say to us, "Are you ready?"
and
Yeah,
you're like, I've been
I've got my
ready.
makeup on. Are you not going to get changed? I have spent about 6 hours on myself.
Oh, the Heathers, they sound terrifying. Catholic school girls in a group called the Heathers sounds definitely like a film that needs to be
So
made.
yeah, we were kind of, I guess there was the populars, there was us, there was only three of us, and then there was the kind of geeks. And my daughter is, I guess my daughter is now in the kind of geeky crowd. And she has so much more fun because
Yeah.
she's like, oh, she always talks about the populars this, the populars that. And I was like, you got to understand the populars are not having fun. They are having the most miserable time. They are too busy worrying about what everyone else thinks about them, how they act. Actually, you coming back and saying you laughed all day at school is life. That's what life should be about. It's laughing and being accepting. And I hate all that kind of stuff. Oh, there's my door. Um, I hate all that kind of stuff. So I think it was a tricky place to be. But it also meant I got to go to good parties and
Oh yeah, a lovely little cheeky house party. Who was your first kiss with? If you went
So
to an
it was
all-girls school, did you have a boys' school that you kind of like fancied?
there was boys' schools that I mean, I fancied everyone basically.
Say,
Okay, so I fancied everyone, basically, because I went to a common girls' school. So boys to me were the unknown, and it doesn't matter what they looked like, how they treated me, they were boys. So I fancied them. So my first kiss was with Dave, a boy called Dave. He was really, he had like short, spiky gelled hair,
oh,
and it was in the
lovely.
juice bar in Leatherhead at the end of the disco after a slow dance. And it was a really, really bad kiss. I
Everybody
was really
has bad.
nervous. He was
Was
shit at kissing.
was it wet and
No, it
tongue?
was quite dry.
Oh, that's even actually what's worse, a wet kiss or like a really
I
like
don't know.
dry
He had
kiss?
really, really like I remember it because he had really, really like tight lips. He was quite a tough boy, and he was like had this really, really tough face. He was just like basically really ugly. But I wanted to be honest, I just wanted to get the first kiss out of the way. 14. I thought 14,
That's it.
you know, I've been around for a long time now, should be kissing people. So 14, first kiss, and then that was it, the start of
Many.
many. I
I
loved a
think
good snog.
we've had a lot of people on the podcast that have gone to girls' school, and we're all boy crazy. I'm still a bit boy crazy today, to be honest.
Me too. What it's
It's,
like, what,
I don't
but
know.
it's almost an unbalanced boy crazy. So Jessica goes to a mixed school. Jessica and
Yeah,
Jack, both my kids go to mixed schools, and she sees boys for what they are. She's like, oh no, I saw him when he was a snotty 12-year-old,
yeah.
11-year-old. He's not attractive, even if they have glow ups. They still remember how they were. Whereas I was like, just get me any boy. I just like
Any boy that would come near me, and even today, if I'm at like an event and there's lots of men there, even today I'm like a little bit on edge. I find it's very,
it's really sad, isn't it?
it's like it's really sad.
Yeah, me too. I don't because I didn't have any brothers or anything like that either.
Yeah,
So it was
same.
I was in a very all girl. I mean, my dad was there, but he was very low key. It was he just kind of just had to accept everything that was going on. But yeah, yeah, still I'm like, wow, they're talking to me.
Yeah, wow, it's a book. I bet they're like, and also at the events, these men are like in their 40s and 50s, and we're like, oh, it's a man.
Exactly.
Oh, I bet they're like,
Check me out. He is talking to me.
what is wrong with these people?
Exactly.
Yeah, imagine. So this week, I met Marty Pello, which people have seen on Insta. Imagine being in a room with Marty Pello. I honestly think my boobs were sweating so much, I thought I was going to just sweat through my dress. I've never experienced anything like it. And I just kept saying to like the people who work at the team, oh, my boobs are really sweating. I'm surprised I didn't walk in to see Marty Pello and just shout, I've got sweaty boobs.
You didn't tell him. Did you keep it to yourself?
I managed to, but it was on the tip of my tongue at all time. I got back to Birmingham and I was like, oh, ripping my clothes off.
Yeah.
Marty Pello, because he's got that twinkle. He's got a little,
He really has. Fun fact, the other guy in the band, the
yeah.
guy, I can't even remember his name.
There's one called Neil. Is there a Graham? I feel.
Graham. So
Yeah.
Graham used to live in my village. I think he's moved, but I used to always see him Cafe Nero. He was ever so nice. He used to always stand and open the door. He used to always sit
Nice.
by the front. He used to always open the door, say hi. Yeah, he was. And my mum used to talk to him a lot because she was Scottish and he was Scottish. So
Is Marty
mum was friends with
Pello's?
Graham.
He's not in Wet, Wet, Wet anymore, is he, Marty Pello?
No, I don't think
There's
so.
Wet, 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 who've got Kevin from Liberty X, and then there's Marty Pello. I wonder what happened. There was
No
honestly,
way. Wait. I've got Kevin from Liberty X.
yeah.
I did
So,
not know that.
so Marty and Wet, Wet, Wet. I wonder what happened there. I wonder what.
Yeah,
Marty, if you're
I did
listening,
like Wishing Well and Love Is All Around.
Sweet Little Mystery. There's some Wet, Wet, Wet. I've got some absolutely
Classics.
gorgeous songs. They're really, really good. Okay, so Snog was gross. Now you're known for your fashion, but I want to hear about your fashion faux pas. What was suit you wore then that was horrific?
Okay, so I used to have a perm.
Nice.
I've got a photo.
Lovely.
Check that out.
That looks nothing like there's not a semblance of you in that photo at all. But that is
Perm,
a great perm.
had a perm, so that was pretty bad. Um, oh, I
Not
had
only
floral.
not only has she got a perm, listeners, she's got a perm, but she's kind of done the thing with a fringe where she's got a bump. Because you got
I've got a big, yeah, clipped it
bum.
back and then pushed it forward.
Yeah.
I mean,
Hairspray,
you
love
have to
it.
do that.
Of
And
course you
then
did.
pulled 5 strands down.
Nice. Was the
Five.
perm like crunchy with mousse?
Crunchy. It was moussed up. It was well, you know what? It was the worst. Am I just on the same to Jessica? It was the worst thing. I had a perm. I got taken to Alders in Croydon. Got my hair done in the hairdressers in Alders, and they permed it all like that in a big
Oh,
big ball on top of my head.
yeah.
And then I had trendles hanging down of perms of just curls. So I looked like Charles the First. And I walked out. And you know, one of those times when you're a teenager, and I walked out and I was like, you know, and you just think, I look like shit, but I'm just going to go with this
Yeah,
because
go.
I'm in a hairdresser, so I have to just
Yeah.
walk out and just pretend I like it. I walked out and Mum said, "Oh, Francis, you look like Charles the First. Get back in there and tell them." And I was like, "No, no, no, I can't tell them." And she
Francis
went,
like
so she
Charles
marched me back
the
in. She went, cut off all those trendles. So they went around and cut off all the trendles that were coming down from my
Yeah.
big ball of perm. And that was quite a traumatic experience. And I've just done the same to Jessica. I've just sent her back to the last week. I sent her back to the hairdresser. I gave her a bowl fringe, and I said to the woman, "You've given her a bowl fringe," and
Well,
she
you
said,
need your moms to stand up for you. That's good. We need.
"Well,
Why
it's
would they give you tendrils? What was their
I
thinking?
have no one really knows, to be honest. No one got
No.
to the bottom of why I had Charles the First as my inspiration for my perm. But anyway, needless to say, it was pretty bad. And I also used to wear, I also for my nana and granda's ruby wedding anniversary, I thought I was really cool. I wore a peach polo shirt and floral denim dungarees and boxer boots.
What's
And
oh
I
I was
had short from all from Marks and Spencer's. I had the shortest haircut ever. Like, and everyone thought I was a boy. In fact, my first bank account was opened up as Master Francis Carroll.
we were talking I was talking about this with Melissa. She thinks she had a similar haircut because of Yaz. Do you think Yaz was the inspiration for your
No,
whole outfit? What was the inspiration then?
my mum was a very big influence in my life. She said, "Why don't you have a pixie cut like Audrey Hepburn?" Now, bearing in mind I had big lips, big nose, big eyebrows, brown hair, massive freckles. I was not a big square face. I was not, I was the most what's it, like kind of like little kind of feminine faced. So I just had this big head, freckly, pale, big featured head with a short haircut. And everyone used to say to my sisters, "Oh, is your brother coming?" And I'd be like, I'm not a boy, I'm a girl, I'm a
I'm
girl.
not a boy, I'm not a
And also
girl.
my name is Francis, so it was just
Yeah,
like
yeah,
everyone
yeah, of
was
course,
just
yeah.
going against me, to be honest.
And growing out short hair is awful because it just looks terrible at every stage. It
It
just,
was
I had
awful.
very short hair and growing it out was unpleasant.
Did you
Yeah,
have it too?
I had short hair, but my hair was based on, like I talked about in last week's episode, the Ladettes. So Zoe Ball,
Oh,
when she
cool.
had short hair, and
Yeah.
like Cameron Diaz in. Have you seen that film with Ewan McGregor and Cameron Diaz? I can't remember what it's called. But she had very short hair. So I did have very,
Didn't she
very
have a
short hair.
beautiful short haircut in the one Turn Back Time, the sliding doors?
That's Gwyneth Paltrow. It was also
That was
very
Gwyneth,
similar to
wasn't
that.
it?
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
all of those women had blonde short hair. I went for blonde short hair. And do you know what? I think I looked all right, but not now. And also getting it cut's a real pain in the bum. You have to get it cut like
Yeah.
like real keep on top of it. But yeah, mine was more like a 90s ladette short hair jeans.
That sounds
Like,
cool.
yeah, I
Mine was
mean,
not.
I don't know if it was
Mine,
cool, but that's what I did. Okay, is there anything you wore then that you'd wear now?
um, in the 90s, I used to wear shell toe trainers, Adidas shell toe trainers that I absolutely love that I would wear now.
Yeah.
I used to wear, so I guess because my 90s goes from 15 to 25, so it covers my university period. So even that kind of, I used to love my fashion, obviously, at university. So I used to wear a body, a denim jacket, a brown puffer over the top, and jeans and trainers and a cap. I used to have like Dallas Cowboys cap or whatever. So I used to love that. I still love that look. That's kind of the 90s is very much coming back into fashion. So I think the slip dresses, like the
Yeah.
thin. And in fact, my 90s dress that I wore to my 90s prom, Jessica wore for her prom this year.
Oh, I love that. That's
The
so
same one. I
nice.
kept it. Yeah, it's beautiful. It's Principles. It was from Principles, and I absolutely loved it. It was such a classic black dress, and we had it taken up, so it was shorter for her. It was kind of a bit longer on me, and she wore it, and she looked amazing.
That's so lovely. I do you remember when it was cultural appropriation that we all wore Chinese style dresses? Do you remember
My
that
sister
little
did.
fashion?
Yeah.
Yeah. I wore a red, I wouldn't wear it now, but I wore a red one to my prom that I got from the Chinese Quarter in Birmingham. But
Yeah.
it was at the time a very trendy thing to do, wasn't it?
Stunning, but beautiful dress as well. And I love that style. It's absolutely stunning. And it's, yeah, my sister wore one to hers as well.
Yeah,
Everyone.
mine was red, and then I went to another prom with a boy. I was at his date, and I wore a dress from Kukai. Do you remember
Oh, nice.
Kukai? But it was a bit short, and I wore it with no bra. I couldn't do that now. It was just braless, bopping around in a Kukai dress. Okay, what was your biggest teenage flop? What do you look back and regret a little bit?
I had so many. I was so many. I think I well when I went to that prom, I loved how I looked,
Mm,
and I it was in a boat party. It was a boat party, so it was on the Thames, and I
nice.
fell down the so everyone was downstairs, and I fell down all the stairs into the base of the boat, and everyone was looking at me. That was, I mean,
Oh no.
I was just a bit of a goon, and I had lacked confidence, and I went red all the time. Basically, I blushed all the time. So every time anyone
Oh.
spoke to me, then I blushed. That was my constant flop, basically my face.
Oh, did you ever use the green stuff to try and combat the
Yeah,
red? Yeah, the
yeah.
green, like green concealer. I remember using that quite a bit.
But that didn't help because I just every time I spoke, I blushed deep red. So and then I looked like I was hiding something, or I fancied someone, or I probably did fancy them, but I just used to just go red. I mean, I still do go red from heat, but I don't go red. I don't get embarrassed as much. But
Yeah.
it was, yeah, I was basically a bit of a disaster zone.
Oh, you sound like you were lovely with your tendrils and your red face.
Actually, I've
Okay,
got
is there
big
anything that's a
freckles.
real teenage success that you look back on and go, I smashed that?
Getting a boyfriend.
Just
Genuinely.
getting a boyfriend. Just having a
Genuinely,
boy.
that was I mean, that's so sad, isn't it? And that's such a sad reflection on me. I loved my fashion, but I thought when I was 16, I got my first boyfriend. He was lovely. It really, and I went out with him for 2.5 years, and we just had a great time.
Yeah.
He was just like my best friend at the time. And I guess because I'd been in a popular group, so the girls weren't so nice. Then this was this boy who was a year above me, and he was just a nice lad, and he became like our my sister's brother. So he was just a nice lad. So I think
Oh,
sadly, when I was 16, I would say that would have been my I obviously went to university and got good A levels,
yeah.
but apart from that, I was yeah,
Getting a
I
boyfriend.
wasn't like
And
successful
also,
in
we
anything
didn't
else.
have phones or anything, did we? We didn't have mobile phones. You kind of like had to phone up the home phone and can I speak to so and so, please? And have a
Yeah.
little phone call for us. It was a very like sweet romantic time, wasn't it?
It was so lovely, and we used to have a phone in our hall, and that was it because we weren't allowed to
Oh
phone anywhere
yeah.
else. So it was in the hall. So we used to take it in turns being on the phone, so Mum could listen. Like she would basically, I don't know, I don't even know if she did earwig. I don't even know if she was bothered, but she would, yeah. So we got kind of monitored on the phone, and it was just yeah. And then when you put down the phone, that was it. Watch TV. So we used to watch. Then we used to watch so much TV. Watch Baywatch. Watch Gladiators. Watch
Beverly
all the
Hills
good
90210. That's what I
Beverly
used to
Hills
love. Yeah.
90210 was my favorite. I
Yeah.
loved Brandon,
Jason Priestley.
Jason Priestley.
I liked David Silver, who was Brian Austin Green, because he in my head he was younger, so he would go out with me.
Yeah,
It felt like Brandon was,
yeah,
it felt like Luke Perry and Jason Priestley were a bit out of my league, where there's Brian Austin Green, he would have gone out with me, even though I lived in Birmingham,
yeah.
not Beverly Hills.
Luke Perry was. I mean, you probably would have had a good chance with him.
Luke Perry,
I mean, no,
Brian
Brian.
Austin Green.
Yeah,
Oh, have you seen him now? He's gorgeous. He's an
is
absolute,
he?
oh, he is a hunk. But Luke Perry, I know he's sadly no longer with us, but he married a fan. I
Did
always remember
he?
that story. Yeah, he married a fan, and I think she might have been British. But yeah, I remember two things about him. He had a pot belly pig, and he married a fan. And I must have read that in Smash Hits.
Yeah, He was very, very good looking. And obviously my ongoing obsession with Take That just carried on through.
Yeah, who was your favourite member of Take That?
Mark.
Yeah, of course. Dolphin tattoo, floppy
Dolphin
hair,
tattoo.
crop
You know
top,
what? As soon as I said Mark, that's like that
baddie
part in the
powder.
video
Oh yeah,
when
when he's like that.
he's wiping his sweat and the dolphin tattoo that literally played on my mind a lot of my life. I absolutely adored him. I adored them all. But I went to see them recently in Barcelona, and he's still my favorite. He's so tiny and so cute, and he
Yeah.
really dances well.
And I know we shouldn't care about people's looks, but he looks better now he's had his haircut.
He does,
He
for
look
sure.
he and shaved his. Did he have a big beard? He looks much better now he's had his haircut. But yeah, Mark was gorgeous. And that dolphin tattoo, wonder what it looks like now. I bet it's not stood
Probably
the
a bit
test of
sag.
time.
It's probably a bit sagging now, isn't it?
Okay. So if you could go back in time, what would you tell yourself?
To
Little you.
not care what people think so much, and actually that people aren't thinking what you think they're thinking. People aren't really taking as much notice of what you're doing as they're thinking. And I would just love to have given myself the confidence that I've got now as a 50-year-old, nearly 50-year-old, then, which you don't get because you're young. But I just wish I could have just gone, you know what, you're okay. You're okay. Like, it's okay. Life is going to be okay. You're not a disaster. You're not embarrassing. You're not, just and speak up. Speak up. It's okay to speak up, and it's okay to give your point of view, and just kind of settle into you. But then I kind of think when you're that age, you don't really know who you are, and it's such a tough time. And I'm always saying to my kids, Jack's quite confident, but Jessica is very much like me. And I'm always like, oh, you should say this, or you should back yourself. And, because if her manager's a bit rude to her or anything like that, I'm just like, no, you go in and tell him this. You go in and tell him this. And she's like, I can't, Mum. I'm 17. And I just wish I had the confidence that I have now, for sure. I
Yeah.
think I would love to give every child, just go, no one really knows what they're doing. Even when you're older, you don't really know what you're doing. So just go for it and just be you, and just really, really settle into yourself, and you're brilliant as you are, and you're amazing as you are. And I just think children are incredible, and I think they have a really, really tough time at the moment with social media. And I just think that the comparison is insane, and the levels of perfection are way off the chart. And it seems to be definitely at the moment, the more beautiful you are, the more successful you are, the more
Yeah.
liked you are. And that's not true, and that's not real life, because everyone is beautiful in their own way. And I think I just wish there'd been more of that. And I wish I could have just told myself that it's going to be okay.
Yeah. Are you glad you grew up then, or do you wish you were growing up now then?
Oh my God, 100% then. I
Yeah.
absolutely, the 80s and 90s were awesome,
Yeah.
brilliant, fun, not so many restrictions. Mental health was that was bad because no one really gave a shit. You're just told
No,
to
no one cared. No, there was
shut
no
up.
mental health. It was not a thing, was it? It was just
No.
like not discussed.
So I think we're all having therapy for that now. But apart from that, I think it was just like fun, amazing films, amazing music. You had time out in your head. Just it was just love. No one recorded anything. No one. You didn't. Well, I mean, we did shows on the VHS all the time for mum
Yeah.
and dad, but we didn't. Nothing was recorded. So it was just a fun time.
Because you were talking about the Wonder Stuff filmed a video in Birmingham, and we all turned up to, I've talked about it before. I don't know how we knew they were filming the video because there was no internet. So I'm not sure, did they just put a sign up? I don't know, but we all turned up, and the video's on YouTube, and there's not one phone out. Everyone's just dancing. But now if there was a group doing a pop video, everyone would have their phones out, wouldn't they? But there was no phone. It was just people like just all dancing together. And I do kind of miss those
And being in the
times.
moment. And I think that's what you
Yeah.
don't. I know that in Coldplay concerts they say for one song they're like everyone put away their phones. We don't want to
Yeah.
see one phone out, and just be in the moment. And at that
Mm.
moment, it's the most wonderful experience and the most wonderful atmosphere. But now everyone's trying to capture everything. then you miss out on the moment for sure. So I think, yeah, I
Yeah.
think it's hard now.
I think one thing my mum does say though is that like obviously we're online and my mum's like, you're lucky because our children will be able to see what we were like as young mums and young people. Whether
Yeah,
I can't see, I only really see my mum as she is now. You can't like, so my mum does wish it, that she could have filmed a little bit of stuff then, so our kids can kind of see what we were like when we were young and hip and cool like we are now.
exactly.
Kind of. Right.
No,
I do polls on Instagram and I do polls on Spotify. So on Spotify this week, I'm going to do the top five films of 1989 and people have to pick the best one. Which would have been your favorite out of those top five films? Batman, Shirley Valentine, Indiana Jones. What were the other two? Oh God, I've already forgotten. Rain Man, Batman, or Indiana Jones, Shirley Temple, or Back to the Future. What was your would have been your
Back to
fave?
the Future. I
Yeah,
love Back to the Future.
Back to the Future 2. What what was that plot then? That wasn't the cowboy
The
one.
dad in Back to the Future 2 wasn't the same dad as in Back to the Future 1. It was a big thing. The actor wasn't paid to do it, and he was there was a big hoo-ha. Found that out yesterday.
Oh, blimey. Okay, and then on my Insta stories, I'm gonna do a poll. Hunks of the 80s. I'm just gonna get people to message me who they fancied in the 80s, and we're just gonna pick the fittest person in the 80s. And would that been Joey for you or Matt Goss?
Joey, but I used to really fancy Tom Cruise in Top Gun.
Tom Cruise is a good contender.
I mean, now it's like no. So that's kind of I think
Or you'd
now
have to join Scientology and it would be a whole thing.
exactly, and yeah, it'd be a bit strange. But yeah, I think I really fancied him. Who else did I really? Oh my God, there was probably loads that I really fancied, and I can't think of who it was. I was obsessed with when I was younger.
I like Tom
Um,
Selleck with a moustache. There was quite a lot of older gentlemen.
Tell you who I used to love,
Who?
Ralph Macchio in Karate
Yeah.
Kid.
I think I feel like he might be on one of the people that have been cancelled.
Uh,
There's always one in every episode of
yeah,
this podcast where I'm like, I think they've been cancelled for doing something.
yeah.
We've not got through an episode. So those are the polls I'm going to be doing. Everybody go and check Fran out. I'll leave all her links in the description if you're looking for real like fun fashion on stories like 80s and 90s talks. Go and check her out. And thanks so much for coming on the podcast.
Thank you, Emma. I've loved it.
Guys, you'll hear me next week and I'll speak to you soon. Bye.